Yeah, change the thing in that real quick. Can I change it while I'm streaming? Can I change it while I'm streaming? Is the question. Yeah, good. I can edit it. Get to change that thumbnail. Change that thumbnail. There we go. Okay, pictures. Anybody that's in right now in the chat, just give me 1 second. I accidentally didn't do the thumbnail. Okay, we're good. Big third and 3. Oh, they jumped. Are they gonna blow it? Free play for Rodgers. Oh, that might have been pass interference. Yep. It doesn't matter. It's a free 5 yards. It's gonna be first to go at the 2. Is it at the 2 for the Packers, or is it the 1? I forget. My scores up real quick. Anybody in here? Whoa, 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 whoa! A lot of people. A lot of people. How's everyone doing? Hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe if you're new. We're very close to 300. We are actually 1 away from 300. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So if you're new to the channel, of course, I'm just seeing 1 yard line. So how's everyone doing? Raptor, I'm very mad about my Falcons. I will get into that. All I'm saying is that the Heat are in the finals, so I don't care about my football teams for the rest of the season. I mean, that's one way to look at it. The Heat look good. Yeah, that's definitely pass interference on Janoris Jenkins. That's textbook pass interference. Let me see my picks. A few picks didn't go my way. That's okay. First and goal. Aaron Rodgers takes it. They hand it off. Saints are gonna second effort. Yep, they're calling him down. Let me see my picks for NFL. Top 25. McD Sports 4 top 25 is out on well, it's gonna be out tomorrow, but it's already done. I just gotta film it. I already did the research and all that for it for that. Congrats on your Titans. I hate how the NFL can't flex into week 5. They should have Bills, Raiders, Steelers. Steelers Titans should be on Sunday Night Football, but no. As Carrie Underwood sings, "Rain all day for rain all day for Sunday night." Not true next week. Not true. I will not be waiting for Sunday Night Football. Okay, second goal. That's pass interference again on Janoris Jenkins. Yeah. I hit 300. Cool. I'm happy. Okay. Packers going to try to cash it in to get to 37-27. This has been a pretty good game, though, this Packers Saints game, back and forth. I do question, I have to log in ESPN, it looks like. I do question some of the play calling from the Saints. The Packers had a terrible breakdown on defense on that Alvin Kamara touchdown, but besides that, pretty good game, some pretty good football. I'm liking it. So I got 10 out of the 15 games that the Packers hold on. It'll be 11 out of 15. And we'll see if the Chiefs win so I can get a 12-4 record tomorrow. Okay. Rodgers, they hand it off. They're saying he didn't get in. They say he didn't get in. That's okay. Let the time run. Let the time run if you're the Packers. Yeah, the runner is down. Yeah, Alvin Kamara is very good. Some people would just argue that he was an above-average running back. I disagree with that. I think he's pretty damn good. I don't know if he's top 3 though. I think Derrick Henry is still in that category, obviously. But it's probably a few of mine after that. Packers gonna have to call a timeout. Yeah, Packers are challenging. Okay. So I'm gonna recap a game during this challenge stuff of the Thursday night game. I don't know if I said much about it, but the Jaguars and the Dolphins teed off in Jacksonville. Dolphins won 31-13. I do think that the Dolphins, that was kind of a desperate team, 0-2. That if the Dolphins lost, their season was going to be over. Because once you're 0-3, your season's over, and most divisions, except the NFC East this year. But I don't think the Jaguars are still that bad of a football team per se. But I think that I do think that they kind of got beat down. Gardner Minshew did not have his best game defensively. They couldn't get to Ryan Fitzpatrick at all. And the Dolphins, they play the Seahawks next week. I forget who the Jaguars play, but overall, I mean, it was basically just a beatdown. I mean, I still don't think Jacksonville's bad, but um, I do think that I do think that they're not. I think they just got beat down. I mean, they got it to 14-7, 21-7 at halftime. They got it to 28-13. So they had kind of a shot late, but to at least get to one possession, but it just didn't work out. That's a touchdown for Green Bay. Do you know when Darren was there? Why Darren? I don't know why Darren Waller was very targeted today. I don't know why. How many times was he targeted? How many times did Derek Carr target him? We'll look at that. I'll just look at that when we recap the game. But they kind of got their asses handed to them today. The Raiders. Not surprising though. And we had 2 receptions. Yeah, I mean, it might have just been one of those games. I mean, the Raiders kind of got their asses kicked today, and by the Patriots. I'll kind of just talk about that game really quickly. Patriots are a legit team. That's why I came away with this one. I mean, Buckhead had an excellent game. Sonny Michel also rushed for 117. I just feel like the Raiders, or the Raiders I thought they were going to be, not really that good, and they proved that today. They scored. I thought it was 36-13 the final. They must have scored a late touchdown. So let's see what the warning on the field is. They're going to say it stands. I don't blame LaFleur for challenging that though. I thought that was. I thought I could have gone either way. But I didn't know the Raiders scored a late touchdown, so at least they ended on a high note. But yeah, basically what that game was a kind of hot Raiders team that went into a cold stone hard wall against a team that's going to be around in the playoffs. How are you doing, Dennis Wilson? You're going to be happy about what I say about your Kings tomorrow in the top 25. They moved up some from last week's top 25. If you watched my video last night, I said they were probably the third best team in the ACC. Touchdown Packers. Tanya caught the ball. No, right at the 2-minute one. That's probably a game. Never count Drew Brees though. Yeah, I mean, I mean, now granted, I also ripped Florida State to shreds. I said Florida State's the worst team in the ACC, but um, I do think Miami is the third best team in the ACC right now. And I think North Carolina and Pitt are competing fourth and fifth, and then I'll probably go with the Virginia teams. Well, we'll see what they do against Notre Dame and Clemson. Well, no, they don't play Notre Dame. They play Clemson in 2 weeks. We'll see what you guys do against Clemson. I think Clemson's the best team in the ACC. And hey, if you go up there and play a tight game, I'll come on here and say you're the second best team in the ACC. We didn't see a chance to see Wake play, but not Wake, Notre Dame play against Wake Forest, but I do think as of what I saw right now, Miami's the third best team. I'm not going to go any higher, primarily because of who they play. Florida State is the worst team, I think, right now, except maybe Kansas and Rutgers, because Rutgers is going to be bad, in the whole entire Power Five. North Carolina, Boston College play next week. I haven't really even looked at the games. I know Alabama A&M play next week. I know Clemson plays Virginia, but um, and I know Florida. I know Florida plays South Carolina, and I think Mississippi State plays Arkansas, and Georgia plays Auburn. Georgia Auburn. That's a top 10 matchup, by the way. That's gonna be a huge game. But Boston College. I mean, listen, they beat up on Duke. I don't think Duke's that good of a team, honestly. I mean, they might. The problem outside Florida State, I think you could argue that they're the 14th best team in the ACC. But then, I mean, Texas State. I know they've been kind of impressive, but I need ball. If you're Boston College, you got to beat that team by 3 touchdowns. So 2 minutes left in this one. Let's see if the Saints could at least make this one interesting. It's a 10-point game. I'll recap one of the other games right now. I already recap. I kind of recap Raiders, Patriots, and Jaguars, Dolphins. I'll recap. Who's on the top of my list? I'll recap Redskins, Browns. Browns won 34-20. Um, the Redskins were up 20 to 17 going into the fourth quarter. Kind of just let the game get away from them. I mean, they had a dumb penalty when it was obvious they were just going with the hard count, the Browns, and the guy jumped on the Redskins. Nick Chubb had a very good game, but the Redskins still have a lot of growing to do. Now, the good news is, well, not the good news. You play the Ravens next week, so you're probably losing next week if you're the Redskins. But the good news is that you're in the NFC East, and as I've been saying on the channel for the past week, I think a 6-10 team is very possible that a 6-10 teams coming out of the NFC East. Almost picked off. If that was picked off, that would have been game right there. And the big turnover, the big well, maybe not so much the big turnover, but the Packers defense came through up 30-27, and the big turnover when it was tied 27 was Taysom Hill. It was not Drew Brees. Taysom Hill fumbled the ball on one of those gadget plays they run. Drew Brees drops back. He caught it. It's going to be first and 10 for the Saints at the like 43. They got to get moving, the Saints. Yeah, Boston College should not be on ABC. You're worried about that. Kamara, 3 yards. That does nothing. You gotta take a timeout. No, they're not taking a timeout. That is a big nothing play for the Saints. And I'm gonna kind of rip into the Saints here a little bit on stuffing because I'm gonna question stuffing. Call first down, Saints in Packers territory. Yeah, that top 25 game a few years ago against Clemson, that did deserve to be on ABC because that was kind of for the ACC Atlantic, that game. Now, everybody and their grandmother knew that Clemson was going to win, but by how much? I think they end up winning that game by about 20. Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, 27-7. That was back when Boston College uh, when they had Steve Adazio. I always mispronounce his last name. Drew Brees. Oh, that was actually a good drop by him. That's an incomplete pass. 102 left, 3rd and 10. They should not let him go. The Falcons should go after somebody that could set a culture. It doesn't matter if he's defense or offense. But I am going to get into the Falcons here after this game. Um, but as I was saying real quick, Redskins are going to be 1-3 after next week. But I mean, the good news is that I think Dwayne Haskins. He's getting better. Drew Brees, complete pass to Traquan Smith. He's going to be short, 4th-and-1. They got to go for this. As I was saying, the Redskins, Dwayne Haskins looks like he is taking a step forward, but it's still going to be a struggle. It's still going to be a struggle. Breeze got it. You got to take the timeout. Yep, timeout Saints. But big 20-yard reception there. So the Browns did not impress me at all. I think they're at best an 8-8 team, honestly. I mean, the Ravens were. I mean, they already did. Pittsburgh would do the same thing, and I still think they're going to split with the Bengals. So we'll see what happens. Back-to-back Sundays, I expose my Falcons. Well, I don't expose them; they expose themselves. Okay, 1st-and-10. It looks like the Saints are going to kick the field goal away here to get to 37-30 and try onside kick. Okay, this kind of interesting. He made it. 37-30. Interesting. I kind of like this because if you get the onside kick, you have a timeout and probably a 26, 27, 28 seconds left. You don't have to sit there. Let's say you scored the touchdown onside kick with like 5 seconds left. You actually have a few plays. I actually really like this. Alvin Kamara, my God, 197 yards. The scrimmage yards ridiculous. Taste it, but I do want to rip the Saints over something after this game, and I do want to rip a few other teams, including these guys a little bit. I am going to rip my Titans up a little bit because I don't. I was not completely happy with today's performance. I do. I'll admit I do. But I mean, I mean, what do you want? I mean, the Falcons. I'll just talk about it. I have my headphones in my ear. I'll talk about the Falcons, and I'm not gonna go as in depth about it because I kind of did last week. But it's basically the same comments, but I'm gonna rip them even harder because for certain reasons. I don't have any videos on right now. Okay, Green Bay's gonna take a timeout. Let's recap another game here real quick. Let's go with Niners Giants. Niners won 36-9. Giants or Jets are probably your two worst teams in the NFL. Niners second string beat the Giants. I have no idea how long Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out. Actually, I don't know if he's out for the year or not. But yeah, I mean, kind of competitive in the first half. Let it get away from you. Um, Niners, they have the Eagles next week. That should be at home. That should be a win for them, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But Giants, either them or the Jets are your two worst teams in the NFL from what I've seen in the first 3 weeks. Yeah, that is good. That is true about the Falcons. Okay, let's see his onside kick. Oh, those they're going to the Saints sideline. Well, the Packers won the game 37-30. Couldn't get 10 yards. So I'm gonna start recapping these games in depth. Packers won 37-30. It's the Saints. That's a correct pick for me. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That kick was breaking, all of a sudden it just went straight out. So that's kind of weird. Um, yeah, just unfortunate if you're the Saints there, but 1-2 now for the Saints. Good news that you beat the Bucks week 1. That's the good news. And you lost. I mean, you lost. This ain't an embarrassing loss for the Saints, but I do want to rip the Saints a little bit, and I'll get to that. Colts, they go ahead and win 36-7. Good win for the Colts. I mean, they did exactly what they should have done against the Jets, blow them out. Adam Gase needs to go. That's just the final line there. The guy's terrible. He was fucking terrible in Miami. He's even worse with the Jets. They can't even be. I mean, the Colts are a choke guards team with Philip Rivers. Philip choke guards Rivers. As far as I'm concerned, as long as that game's close, you probably win. And they couldn't even get that game close. Absolutely embarrassing. That safety in the fourth quarter was just that. That's one of the worst things that could have happened to you. Absolutely embarrassing, just laughable, disgraceful. And the sad thing is that they're on Thursday Night Football next week, and a backup quarterback in the Denver Broncos, who I'll get into here in a minute. Um, they're going to get their first win of the season, the Denver Broncos, in very convincing fashion against probably the worst team I've seen in the NFL since I've been watching. Absolutely terrible. And I said the two worst teams are the Jets and the Giants. I'm going to say the Jets are worse because of Adam Gase. Because at least the Giants, I mean, at least that you can sit there and say Daniel Jones isn't bad and Saquon's out. You can point to that. The Jets are just god awful, an absolute disgrace, an absolute abomination, absolutely terrible. Fire Adam Gase now. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Jets will be lucky to win the game under Adam Gase. It's not. I mean, this isn't even like close. This isn't even close. My God, ain't even close. Okay, few other games. I'll just start from the top. I kind of skipped around a little bit. Um, the Bills almost blew a 28-3 lead, but they got the win over the Rams 35-32. The Rams defense has to be one of the most dumbest defenses I've ever seen. 3rd and 25, and you gave that up, and well, fourth. I think it was like 4th and 8. You can say I know the Rams are saying that pass interference call was wrong. I don't care that it was wrong necessarily. But you can 3rd and 25. You need with a 4-point lead. You got to cash that in if you're any defense in the NFL. Good win for the Bills. They are legit. I mean, Josh Allen is. Listen, he might be. He's almost there to being in that in his peak. I don't know if he's elite necessarily. I still think the Patriots have a shot in this division. We'll talk. I already talked about that, but yeah, Bills should be favored to win this division. I like what I'm seeing from the Buffalo Bills. The Rams are still a good team. Um, Down 28-3, they could have easily quit on that game and probably lose that and cash in probably 35-10 or something like that. They did not give up and came back. So give them a lot of credit for that. But Bills are legit. That's what I got from this game. I think the Rams are pretty legit as well. Let's talk about my Titans. Titans won 31-30 against the Vikings. Steven Jankowski deserves the game ball as far as I'm concerned for this one. And it's typical Titans for us to go out there and almost lose. This game should have been a 2-touchdown game. Several times we drove down the field and ended up kicking field goals. That cannot happen against better teams. We play Pittsburgh next week. That will not work against Pittsburgh. And overall, I mean, I'm happy we're 3-0. I'm happy we got the win. But I gotta admit, the Titans take about 10 years off my life. Vikings, listen, Kirk Cousins, we all knew what was going to happen on that final drive. 31-30, minute 20 left or so. Kirk Cousins couldn't even, I mean, he couldn't even get the ball past the line. That's how bad it was. And I said at the beginning of the season, I think the Vikings hit their peak last year. I think it's in one of these things. I think it's basically you're either going to be stuck in mediocrity or you're going to rebuild it. They already traded Stephon Diggs. His defense has obviously taken a step back. So what are you going to do if you're the Vikings? You just extended Mike Zimmer. I would not have done that because I think his days are kind of numbered in Minnesota, honestly. But overall, good win for my Titans. We face a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team next week. We got to score 6 against them. We can't just be kicking field goals, unlike a mediocre team at best against the Vikings. So that's my reaction to my Titans. Right there. The Jets have the worst everything. They except the fans, the Jets fans. If you're a Jets fan, I don't know how you do it. Yeah, the Cardinals last year were better than the Jets because they snuck up on a few teams. Jets don't sneak up on anybody. I don't even know if they'll sneak up within 2 touchdowns of anybody. Let's see. Bengals, Eagles tied. The Philadelphia Eagles at the end of that overtime period, not deciding to kick a 64-yard field goal and going for the tie is disgraceful, is disgusting, and I was, as an NFL fan, I was disgusted with that. You attempt that 64-yard field goal if you're the Eagles. Don't sit around, oh, let's take a delay of game. That is pitiful. That is absolutely pitiful. Carson Wentz, I hate to say this about him, but I think his days might be numbered in Philadelphia. Bengals. Listen, the Bengals could easily be 3-0. Someone was telling me this today. Close game against the Chargers, a game that should have probably gone at least into overtime. You look at you go ahead and look at the game against the Browns. Some missed opportunities there, but lose by 1 possession. And then this Eagles game goes into overtime. Probably could have won it, honestly. And listen, Carson Wentz, like game time drive was great, but that was the only thing that was great from him today. The Bengals are not that good of a football team, and the Eagles aren't much better. If anything, they're the same as the Bengals since they're tied. I'm gonna say they're the same as the Bengals. They suck. And I'm absolutely that really ticked me off. And I'm not sure because last year they kicked a 62-yard field goal, or it might have been a 63-yard field goal if I'm not mistaken, and they won that game against the Giants. They couldn't even. I mean, you couldn't kick a 64-yard field goal. You couldn't do that, and the guy jumping at that 59-yard field goal, that he should be cut. That is a that. I mean, that is a boneheaded play right there. Don't jump. Very disgusted with the Eagles today. Just very disgusted with them. Texans Steelers. They won 28-21. Steelers were kind of down for most of this, at least in the third quarter and part of the fourth quarter, 21-20, 21-17. Kind of back and forth in the first half. I watched this game because since I like making fun of the Texans and we play Pittsburgh next week, and then I watched the Titans Vikings game, of course. I mean, the Steelers are kind of just one of these teams. They're gonna find a way to beat you. I mean, Mike Tomlin is an excellent head coach. This game could I thought the Texans actually played pretty damn good. But you're 0-3 if you're the Texans. Now, granted, the Texans had a very tough first 3-game stretch against Kansas City, obviously, Baltimore, and the Steelers. They didn't really get their asses handed to them in any of those games, I would say, except maybe the Chiefs game a little bit. But your schedule lines up for the next 2 weeks. You get the Vikings and Jaguars at home. I expect the Texans to actually win both of those games. And then you go on the road against the Titans, and then at home against the Packers, and it kind of gets tough from there. At least a little bit tough from there again. Just looking at your schedule. But overall, good win for Pittsburgh. I can't wait for that game next week. That game is a big game, Steelers Titans. To me, whoever wins that game is probably your third best team in the AFC. So That's gonna be a huge game that I think everybody should be watching if they can. And it sucks that that's just a 1 o'clock game because that should be that. I mean, Grant, you have Chiefs Patriots as your 4:25 game. I'm fine with that, but they need to start flexing these games instead of week 5. They need to start flexing them after week 3 because there is no way that Sunday night football game or that Monday night football game should be on next week. Your Monday night football game next week is Packers and yeah, Packers, Falcons, and Lambeau. So yeah, terrible Sunday and Monday night football game next week. In my opinion, I would not be rating for Sunday night football next week. But yeah, I can't wait for that game next week. Panthers upset the Chargers. This does not surprise me. The Chokers, the LA Chokers, showed up and they do what they do best. Justin Herbert didn't look bad. I don't think the Chargers necessarily played bad. I just think that, as I said during the preseason, watch out for the Panthers. They're going to sneak up on a few teams. They snuck up on the Chargers, as you can see right here. Good first win for Matt Rhule as head coach there, and they're trying to build a foundation and everything. And very good win for the Panthers. I still think they're not really that good of a team because I think the Bucks and Saints are in their way at least. They're better than the Falcons though. I can tell you that. More on that in a second. But the Chargers, very disappointing loss. Just very disappointing. There was absolutely no excuse for the Chargers to lose this game. So very disappointing for the Chargers there. Bucks Broncos. Bucks win 28-10. Bucks very good. They got off to a very good start in this one. I thought I was a little bit leery about Tom Brady, at least them getting off to maybe a slow start because I thought that Tom Brady's history playing in Denver has not been good back when he was a New England Patriot, but got off to a very fast start. A lot of safeties today. There was a safety in the Bucks game. There was a safety in the Cowboys game. There was a safety in the Colts game as well. But overall, very good performance by the Bucks. Who do they get next week? The Bucks. They get the Chargers at home, so that will be a win for them. You can chalk that up for a win for them, in my opinion. So Bucks, they look like they're heading in the right direction. They're up by a game in the division right now against the Saints. So we'll see what happens. The Broncos 0-3. Your season's probably over, but the good news is that you get the Jets next week. That should be a very easy win. With the back, I know you guys are running out backup quarterback, but you could run a. I mean, the Broncos could basically sign a bunch of practice squad guys, or guys off the streets, and beat the Jets. As how bad it is for them. So good win for the Bucks. You want to hear something funny? I'm in my one fantasy league. I had Well, it worked out for you tonight, Eli. It worked out for you tonight. The football team. I call them the Redskins. I don't care. And I don't think the Redskins were necessarily bad. I just don't think they're really that good. I mean, that was just kind of a young team that kind of let that game get away from them. Right there. Well, Carson Wentz is injury prone. That's why they made that pick. Yeah, next week's primetime games are terrible. Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. The 4:25 game's nice though. Yeah, we were. I might actually do a recap of that Ravens Chiefs games. NFC East pure trash. I've been saying 6-10 might win the division. Yeah, that's. Hopefully Joe Montana's okay. Sometimes when people sometimes that happens. You have a young kid or like a newborn, and someone hears about it, and they come in and try to steal the newborn and try raise it for their own. And this is actually true a lot of the time. And then 18 years later or whatever, when they're trying to apply for maybe college or a job, it finds out that they've been kidnapped as a young kid. I like what I'm seeing from Haskins. I thought Haskins won the locker room over in Week 1 in that comeback win against the Eagles because supposedly Ron Rivera couldn't speak to the team because he had going IV and he made the halftime speech and they came back and won. I thought that was very huge for Dwayne Haskins. So I don't think you guys should be tanking for a quarterback. Now, if you guys are like 1-10, I would. But I don't think you guys are gonna be 1-10 because I actually think you guys are the second best team in that division. Trevor Lawrence, I will look at teammate. I say this a lot. I think the Falcons should tear it up. I still need to recap that game, but I think they should tear it up. The Atlanta Falcons. I look at a team like maybe the Detroit Lions who might want to move on from Stafford. Um, the New York teams are terrible. The Browns might be looking to move on from Baker. It's gonna be Carolina is a team I think you could look at. There's a lot of teams that I think could be looking at quarterbacks possibly. I look at maybe the Raiders. I know there's whispers that Gruden is not the biggest David Carr fan. Who else? Who else on the list of teams? I'm just looking at the map. Vikings are a team I would definitely look at. Um, the Bears are a team after today. They're definitely a team. The Colts, they got the guy from Washington, Eason, so that's I think their quarterback. Big Ben possibly. Remember Billy Volek? I remember the last name. I would Falcons should trade Secretary rack up picks, trade it for a combo of Fields and Lily. I think Lawrence is better. Fields is better. Yeah, as I said last week, the Falcons should tear it down. Let me recap these games real quick, and then I'll get into a bit more. But Lions. Speaking about the Detroit Lions, they kicked the last second field goal. Matt Prater kicked that field goal, 26-23 over the Cardinals. Good win for the Lions to keep those at least our playoff hopes alive. I'll tell you right now, they're not winning that division. The Packers are just too good, and the Bears I think are better than them, despite the quarterback controversy now. But good job keeping their playoff hopes alive. You never want to be 0-3. Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are a young team. We're going to see how this affects this young team. Who do they have next week? The Cardinals, just out of curiosity. They're on the road against the Panthers next week. So a Panthers team that's coming off a big win. Two young teams right there. We'll see what happens. But obviously, big win for the Lions. And a lot of Lions fans thought they were going to win this week because they can't stand Matt Patricia, the Detroit Lions fans. And I can't blame them, but they're like, oh, there'll be a glimmer of hope because we'll win this week against the Cardinals. It's so Detroit Lions. Turns out they were right. They know their team like a book to the Detroit Lions fans. And good win for them. I think the Packers there, we beat them once, so beat them the other time. They get the Saints next week at home. They definitely have a shot in that game, but I'll probably give that one to the Saints right now. But overall, good win for the Lions. We'll see what the Cardinals do down the road. Seahawks, Cowboys. Seahawks win 38-31. Good win for the Seahawks. This game was a lot closer than what I thought it was going to be. Give the Cowboys credit for competing in this one. This was a weird game as well. The Seahawks got safety as well. A lot of safeties today. But Dak Prescott made a very athletic play, keeping the play alive, but through a terrible interception. Overall, this has nothing to do with the Seahawks. I'm about to say it has everything to do with the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy is not the right coach for this job. He's just not. I've seen enough in 3 games. Some of the most boneheaded things I've ever seen a head coach do. And if you watched the Carolina Jackpot video earlier today of him pouring milk all over himself, pretty funny, but he was doing it because he lost a bet. That's what Mike McCarthy should be doing every time after he loses because of some of the bonehead decisions he makes. I mean, coaching-wise, just this team is very poorly coached, the Cowboys. Now the good news is that they're in the NFC East. That's the good news. But yeah, just a very poorly coached team. Give them credit for actually taking a lead late in this one. I'm not going to give on them for blowing a 31-30 lead. That's not really a lead. That's kind of a tie game, in my opinion, just a 1 point lead. But overall, at least they're in the NFC East. That's all you can say if you're a Cowboys fan at this point. Packers Saints. Packers they won 37-30. Good win for the Packers on the road. I picked the Packers to win this game because I felt they were the better team. The Saints. Here's my issue with the Saints. Defensively, I'm not really going to get on them. I think the Packers have the best offense in the league, outside maybe the Ravens and Chiefs. I don't understand why they want all this gadget crap. And listen, I don't mind the gadget shit, but it cost you the game. It changed the whole game when you took Drew Brees out. You put Tyson Hill in, and you ran basically a QB draw, and he fumbled it. And I get I get Sean Payne really likes him, but it's just weird in my opinion. Like having him run out there once every 10 plays or so, kind of running some gadget bullshit or something. Um, and I'm not against calling a gadget play every now and then, but I think the Saints run too many. I think some teams are starting to figure them out. Um, and I think it's going to turn into an issue for the Saints if they continue doing this. I mean, the goal is to keep the teams off balance with that, but I mean, they've been doing it now for like 2-3 years, the Saints, and it's getting to a point I think teams are starting to figure it out. So they need to either change some of their gadget plays or maybe just go away from it because Drew Brees is good enough to win a bunch of games for the Saints. So I will be fine with him just playing every snap. But if you want to run this gadget offense every now and then, I know Sean Payne was the guy who came out and said, "Oh, he's the future quarterback. He's the future quarterback, Tyson Hill." That's fine if he is, but when he comes, you can't be running these gadget plays. It's just so many gadget plays for the Saints. I mean, the Alvin Kamara touchdown, which I thought was the only bad thing that the Packers did tonight. Defensively, that terrible touchdown they gave up with like 5 missed tackles, that was a gadget play. So, and that was with Drew Brees in there. So I just think too many gadget plays for the Saints at this point. They just maybe need to trim it down some or maybe even look at going away from it. So that's my opinion about the Saints. Good win for the Packers. I think they are probably the best team in the NFC at least. Maybe not so much in the AFC, but the Ravens might be and the Chiefs might be, but good win for the Packers there. Okay, last game. And before the last game, I'm going to look at the comments section. I think the Saints Lions will be like Chiefs Lions. The Lions will be really good and should win, but the Lions come to reality. Lions things. It might be. It might be. Do you think he'll be an upgrade over? You think he would be an upgrade over Jason Garrett? Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy cost him that game in week 1, and I think Jason Garrett would have kicked that field goal. So I would say no. I think it's actually a downgrade because at least. I mean, Jason Garrett, yeah, coaching wise, the Cowboys were badly coached last year as well. But at least, I mean, at least he didn't make bonehead decisions, Jason Garrett. It wasn't bonehead decisions. Some of the decisions the Packers made, like against the Falcons in that comeback last week, some of the most bonehead decisions you can make as a head coach. I thought them going for it on 4th and 3 against the Rams in week 1 was a bonehead decision. I really do. I mean, and listen, maybe he's told to make some of these decisions, but I really don't think he should be making bonehead decisions. I do think Mike McCarthy's good enough to be a head coach in this league, but some of the decisions he makes are just boneheaded, in my opinion. Heats Lakers. When I signed up to cover the NBA, I'm not going to get into it. I kind of did a little bit. I'm not covering the NBA. I think. I honestly think. I'm not there to watch. I'll keep it at this. I'm not there to watch a political show for 2.5 hours. I'm there to watch a game. The Eagles need a rebrand and a rebuild. That is possible. That is possible. Carson Wentz, they're gonna have to ask themselves some tough questions about Carson Wentz. Camaro is just a beast. So funny. I made the right pick. Yes, yeah, good pick. At least tonight. See what happens. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. Knocking on wood. But let's talk about this last game here. The another comeback. Just like the Rams came back down 28-3. At least the Bills finished that game off with a touchdown and made that game right. The Chicago Bears play Mitchell Trubisky. They started Mitchell Trubisky. He didn't really play that good. Okay. I mean, he's not really that good to begin with, but okay. They look at the bench. Nick Foles. Oh, come in, Nick Foles. Come in, Nick Foles. Super Bowl MVP. Murders the Falcons. This is unacceptable. You got outscored 20-0 if you're the Falcons in the fourth quarter. Dan Quinn, I mean, dead man walking. He might be walking 6 feet under at this point. Good Lord, the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan played like dog shit. The defense is terrible. That's Dan Quinn's specialty. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, for the Atlanta Falcons to let the Chicago Bears come back on them down 26-10. Good Lord. I mean, and Matt. I mean, at least it wasn't Trubisky who led the comeback. Because if that was the case, I don't even know what I would say to that. But your season's over if your season was over in week 1, but especially week 2. But what are you gonna do if you're the Falcons? Let's look at the schedule. And by the way, good win, Bears. You're 3-0. Excellent win. You definitely have a shot in the NFC North, even though I think the Packers are going to edge you out because I think they're the better team. But good win for the Chicago Bears. They're definitely a playoff team. That defense is pretty good. It showed up. Chuck Pagano, I forgot he was the defensive coordinator. Very good defensive coordinator. Very good. But let's look at the schedule for the Falcons. Next week, Monday Night Football on the road against the Packers. You're losing by at least 4 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how you can come back from this if you're the Falcons. I don't know if I don't know how that locker room has to be in shackles right now. There has to be at least some tension in that locker room at this point. There has to be. Panthers at home. I will give you a shot against the Panthers at home, but I think the Panthers will beat you from what I've seen so far this year because at least the Panthers have been in all 3 of those games. Against the Bucs, they were in that game. Against the Raiders, they were in that game, and they won today. So I think the Panthers beat you. On the road against the Vikings. God, that's going to be the toilet bowl. The Vikings, I think, would beat you, though. The Lions at home. Lions, I think, are a competitive enough team that I think they will beat you. I mean, hell, they should have probably beat the Bears, honestly, in week 1. So, they blew a 20. They blew a lead against Mitchell Trubisky. And I think that was a 17-point lead they blew against Mitchell Trubisky. So I guess that was worse, but with the Falcons second week in a row. And I was saying 26-10. I picked the Bears to win, but I was like, okay, this is a nice response from the Falcons. I still don't think they're really that good of a team, but good response for the Falcons. It keeps them at least relevant for a few weeks this win. Couldn't even get that. Jets getting called. Jets are the worst team in the NFL. Go back and rewatch that. Doing. How are you doing, though? See you, Raptor. Yeah, Liberty FIU was a real classic. It really was. But let me get back to this Falcon schedule. So, no wins. On the road against Carolina, you will lose that game. Broncos at home. This is November 8th at this point. If they run out their backup quarterback, maybe, but I mean, I'll still take the Broncos. I think they're a well-coached team. Saints on the road lost. Raiders at home lost. I mean, I'm looking at this outside of maybe the chokers. Maybe you get lucky against the chokers, and maybe if the Bucs are benching everybody in Week 17. I mean, Gil, maybe you beat the Panthers at home in a few weeks, but I I don't see any way you guys are better than 3-13 if you're the Falcons. I really don't. Um, it is bad in Atlanta. It is really bad, and I'm just gonna keep it at that. But I'll stick around for a few more minutes. Tom Brady's with the Bucks is about as weird as it is pretty weird. It is pretty weird. Falcons are probably going to be getting a top 5 pick for sure. I don't know. I mean, the Jets are getting the first pick. Let's make that clear. I said the two worst teams are the New York teams. The Jets are getting the first pick. The Jets are just terrible because at least the Giants lost to the Niners like that. Even though look at the Giants schedule, they could very well beat everybody in the NFC East, in my opinion. I think the Redskins are better than the fifth worst team in the NFL, though. I mean, I would take the Redskins right now over um, the Eagles. I would take them over the Giants, Jets, Falcons. I'll take them over the Bengals right now, from what I've seen. Who else? Maybe I like to see them maybe against the Lions, the Jaguars, maybe. So I don't think I think the Redskins aren't terrible. I really don't. Be- Bengals will beat the Falcons from what I've seen. I think there's three first football teams of the New York teams and the Falcons. If I look at this Giant schedule, you could beat the Redskins at home. You could beat, I mean, hell, you could sweep you could sit there and prove me wrong. Basically, win the whole NFC East, lose against everybody else. Excuse me, basically, and go ahead and finish 6-10, win the division. LSU into Oklahoma. Well, LSU's I mean, they lost a lot. I'm not really going to get into that. My top 25 pool comes out next week. I already actually filled it out and everything. I just got to film it tomorrow. But LSU dropped a lot. Oklahoma, I talked about that yesterday. I mean, you can look at it from a number of different ways, but at the end of the day, there's no way Oklahoma should be losing to Kansas State, and there's no way Kansas State should be scoring more than like 24 on them for them to be so called a blue blood. I hate that term, blue blood school. Um, but good, yeah, I agree with Oklahoma. NFC East is a joke. Yep, definitely nail on the coffin on that. But I think I mean I'm looking at some of these games. I think the whole all divisional games are it's the Cowboys. I think that all of those games are winnable. I think at home against the Browns is winnable. I'll go as far at the Bengals is winnable. I mean, there's still a lot of winnable games for the Giants, in my opinion. Like when I say the Giants are the second worst team, um, that's just because from what I have seen, I think that offensive line is god awful for the Giants. And I don't think I still am not sold on Daniel Jones. But I mean, outside the Niners game today, I mean, Bears game you almost came back and won. Um, and Steelers game, I mean, you were driving down the field. That game changed when Daniel Jones. I still don't know what happened. I don't know if his hand got hit as he was throwing or it just slipped. So, I mean, you were in that game in the second half. Tennessee versus that was a good game. Now, Grant, I took South Carolina on the upset, so it didn't work out for me. Plus 3.5, it didn't work out for me. But that was a good game. Special teams it came down. Special teams it came down to a special teams play, and South Carolina screwed it up. But I don't think that game for much champ for real much champ. I don't think that's really that much. I mean, that was kind of just unlucky for South Carolina, in my opinion. I don't think that game should really go on much champ. I just think that game. I mean, I just think that game should be going on. Um, just a bad special teams blunder. Ohio Maryland this year. I think we're better than Michigan State, Rutgers, and I think we'll be Northwestern week 1. Outside of that, I mean, we'll see who we get in our so-called ninth game, out of the West. But I say in the regular season, 3-5 should be this. That's why I think we'll go 3-5. I would like to see 4-4 though. I would, but I mean, I look at the East, the rest of the East. We go ahead and we get I think we got I think we get Minnesota out of the West. That's our other team. That's gonna be a loss. And I look at the East. I mean, Penn State has an upper. There's no way of being Ohio State. Michigan. I mean, that game could be competitive. But I think we lose at the end. So Indiana. They have a good team in Indiana. I think that team. And those games will tell you against Indiana for the past few years. If it's one of those like dogfight games, um, we have a shot, obviously, but I think Indiana's just a pretty good team. So we'll see. We'll see. FSU. Yeah, Florida State University, as I said earlier to when Dennis Wilson was on here, I talked about how that team um, was basically maybe the worst Power Five team outside of Kansas and Rutgers and Colorado, because Colorado's gonna be pretty bad this year as well. But they're the worst team in the ACC, definitely, because Georgia Tech's the second worst team and Duke's probably the third worst team. And I'll take Cutcliffe over Florida State because they don't even know what the hell they're doing at Florida State. I'll take Duke just on the sheer fact that Cutcliffe is the head coach. So, and I made the comment. I think every team. I said this in last night's live stream. I think every team in the Sun Belt can beat Florida State except UL Monroe. And the only reason I say UL Monroe is because they beat UL Monroe last year and took an extra point in that one. They are really bad, Florida State. I think Syracuse beats them. I think Wake beats them. Who else is not so much of a good team in the ACC this year? NC State, I think, beats them. They want to how they fall so quick. Jimbo Pillman, bad spot. Jimbo Fisher, Weary Taggart didn't know what the hell he was doing, and now I do believe in Mike Norvell. I think he can at least somewhat turn it around, but it's gonna take a while. It really is gonna take a while. Um, but overall, I just feel like I mean there's no way Florida State should be losing to Miami 52-10. That is your in-state rival. You need to show up for that game. That I mean, and listen, talent-wise, Miami might be better. I'm not saying there's no way that game should be 52-10 because of the talent or anything. I'm saying for the sheer fact that is your in-state rival, you need to show up against your in-state rival. That was that was I mean, and listen, I know Novell wasn't there. That game's actually not going to go against his record per se because he had COVID, so he had to sit out that game, I guess. But overall, I do think that there's no way that game should be 52-10. That's embarrassing if you're Florida State. But if you're gonna look at my poll, you some hot takes in my poll. I mean, I'm looking at the poll right now. And every conference that is in my poll, I decided to do that because, and the Big Ten, the MAC, the Mountain West, and Pac-12, the conferences that haven't played yet. Those I'm basically going off last year's team when ranking you honestly at this point. And this year's weird. It's going to be basically off the eye test more than anything, in my opinion. And as I said, I think this is just a one-year thing for football. I think we're going to be back to playing a normal 12-game season, fans in the stands next year for college football and the NFL. But I have some hot takes. I really have some hot takes in my poll. I dropped a few teams, obviously. One of the teams I didn't want to drop, but I kind of had to with the conferences coming back. And left some teams out. I didn't want to leave out, but I kind of had to. But yeah, some teams dropped a lot in my poll. Pacific and some teams that got added in my poll as well. But overall, should be a fun poll. It'll be out tomorrow late afternoon. But that's kind of all. I usually keep these like an hour long. It's actually at 59:40, so I'm gonna wrap this up. thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe. Got a lot of views in here tonight. I like that. Supposedly we hit 300. I'm going to confirm that right now, actually. Make sure we did. If we did, I'll be fired up if we did. I'll be very fired up if we did, actually. And we did. Thank you for 300. I appreciate it. I'm not going to make a separate video about that, but thanks for 300. See you, Dylan Flame. Yes, sir, 300. Yes, sir, indeed. Thanks for watching. Go Titans. Go Terps. Can't wait for next week of college football with a big top 10 matchup. We have two big matchups in the SEC and some other big matchups and some NFL matchups, especially my team playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me schedule real quick. Monday, top 25 pool. Wednesday, picks of the week. And then I'm going to try find a video to make for you guys Thursday and Friday, but might not. I know last week I wanted to, but the reason why I didn't is because a lot of people did. I was gonna make fun of something, but a lot of people already made fun of it, so I wasn't going to kick the can a bit more. But overall, I'll find something for you guys to laugh at, or maybe a video overall. But thanks for watching. McD the B signing off. Go Titans with 3-0.